Imagine telling a family member that they could store a few things at your house because they're in the middle of a move and they want to save some money on their storage unit. So you're like, yeah, a few boxes, that's fine. But not only did you say yes, you actually took this family member through your house and you said, okay, so here is the spare bedroom. The spare bedroom is off limits because I'm currently changing it into a nursery. But you could put your stuff in the spare bedroom closet. This is the space. And then she took her out to the garage and said, you could actually put a few boxes over in this corner as well. Do you think there's enough room for your stuff? So she wanted to be very clear, is this enough space? Because these are the only two locations that you could fill up. And the family member's like, yep, perfect. It's just a couple things. It's some keepsakes and some kitchen items. She's like, okay, yeah, no problem. Well, then moving day came. And what do you know? A big pickup truck pulling a 20-foot trailer packed to the brim. Pickup and trailer packed with furniture, totes, boxes, just so much stuff pulled up. And the family member's husband gets out and he's like just unloading right away. And the listener's like, wait a minute. Like, this is not what we had discussed. Like, And he goes, sorry, we already turned the keys into the storage unit. Like, this is your problem now. Basically, he unloaded the entire thing in their driveway and took off. She's like, oh my gosh. So they moved it all into her garage. It took up the entire garage. They could no longer park their cars in it. And she called her sister. But before she called, this is her sister, that's the family member. Before she called her sister, she had a plan because she obviously had to confront her on this, but her sister is kind of delicate and she knows she can be temperamental. So she had a plan to lay out with her. So she called her and said, hey, this is not what we had discussed. This is not a few kitchen items and some keepsakes. This is not okay and this will not work. So what I have proposed is, number one, I'll look for a better storage unit for you, like a cheaper option, because I guess what they were paying was $1,000 for storage unit. I don't know, is that what they go for these days? That seems crazy to me. But I'll look for a cheaper storage unit on my own time. I'll find it for you. I'll take care of everything. Number two, I will go through all of your items, even though some of it was just like moldy and rotten and that should not have even been in storage because the stuff had been in storage, I guess, for 5 years. She goes, I'll go through everything and document it for you so then you can just look at the list because they lived out of state. You can look at the list and then see like what you want to keep and what you want to donate. Third option is we can set a time where you come stay with me and we go through it all together. What would you like? Now, instead of the sister saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're going through all this work and you would help me to this extent after I've just dumped like probably 10 or maybe 20 times the amount of stuff in your garage that I said I was going to, she exploded. She's like, how dare you, you ungrateful little bee. And then she did the worst thing possible, which is after everything I have done for you. And what she did is, unfortunately, these girls, these two sisters, lost their parents. And because the listener's sister is 20 years older, she took over guardianship and raised the little sister. And so she's like, after everything I did for you, you have no right to call mom and dad. You were adopted. You don't even share their blood. I mean, she just went for the jugular. But here's the thing, and this is why I'm sharing this story, because this listener, I can't believe how well she handled this. Instead of getting sucked into the drama about being adopted or just any of that or owing her sister anything, she stayed calm and she is basically like, you have 3 months to figure this out. So you have 3 months to come up with a better plan. And she didn't just stop there. Over the course of the 3 months, she would periodically reach out to her sister and say, hey, here's a listing for a really cheap, storage unit over here, or how's the progress coming? Have you found a home to move to? Like, what's the update? So she kept it going, the conversation going. And then she would also add, because they lived out of state, like the sister and the husband, they had moved, when you do have your friends come pick up your stuff, within these 3 months, make sure we're home because we want to make sure they don't take any of our stuff because they wouldn't know. Well, The sister, of course, threw a wrench in that. The weekend that was the listener's wedding anniversary, they had plans to go out of town. She called and said that was the only weekend someone could come and pick up the stuff. And the listener held her ground and she's like, no, I'm sorry, that won't work for us. They'll have to find a different time. Like, seriously, everything she's doing is so good and she's being so kind this whole time, holding her line. And luckily the sisters, she's like, okay, fine, they're coming next weekend. They did, they came, they got all their stuff. And I just think this is such a fabulous example of holding your line. I can't believe, I don't know what I would have done if a family member would have done that. Like, so even when I was reading her message, when the trailer pulled up, like in my head, I'm like, don't let him unload it. Like, I'm like yelling, but I don't know what I would have done. I don't even know. I don't know how, I definitely don't think I would have came up with those ideas and stayed so calm, and she didn't get sucked into the drama. She obviously has a lot of experience dealing with a very emotionally immature sister. So what a great story. I wanted to share that with you. And what would you do if you said yes to storing a few items and they showed up with like a moving truck? Like, how would you react?